Hello, and welcome to Wrestling in Mom's Basement. This is the Raw versus WCW Nitro from September
18th,
1995. Of course, I'm Patrick Young. This guy to my right is not looking into the camera right now. Joe Venuto.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully I actually remember the one I had planned for later. Let's see if I do.
Roll was episode 127. Still going pre-tape from Canton, Ohio. And just like the weird next week on Roll clips that they showed last time, this one starts with a guy saying next week on Roll. Lead up to clips from the Bulldog Razor match and the emphasis on the Kid Razor angle. 1, 2, 3 Kid versus Razor Ramon kickoff. Of course, on Kid's entrance, they take us back to Kid's WIMB career break win on Razor Ramon 2 years ago. Fast start, Kid showed his still tendency by attacking before Razor removes his jacket. It backfired because Razor ends up hitting with a second full leg slammer 2. Razor just tosses Kid around. Kid is all about bumping big for him. He gets 2 on chokes as well. Kid comes back with a tope to the outside. There's an airfall. He works sleeper hand in the commercial. And Razor breaks out of it as they return. That's how you utilize a commercial break, by the way. As Razor and Anything's come back, they collide and release a ref bump. Dean Douglas then runs out, splashes Razor's up the top and sprints to the back. Kid enters the ring, drapes the armor of Razor, and gets the 3.
It's probably the best match on Raw so far that we've started doing this, I think.
Yeah.
It just had a little bit of history, so you kind of knew more going into the match than you would just a regular squash match, which about 80% of the matches on Raw have been so far.
Yeah.
And I really did like and I did think it was a good match. And I thought they played off their history very well. And also, they're continuing a different place for where they're going. Eventually, it would probably end up in a crybaby match, which was somewhat fun, if I remember correctly. But still, not probably the best match of all, I would say.
Yeah, I thought this was the match of the week between the two shows. It was...
Yeah, actually, no, I'll go that far, yes. You're right.
It was a... I'm humble. It was a fine little match. That advanced 2 angles, 1 Dean and Razor, and the tension between Kid and Razor. They were good pace. It was an enjoyable match. Afterwards, Albert Dean Douglas takes us his classroom for a report card. He gives Kid himself and Razor grades that end up spelling out D-E-A-N. Dean. He's so clever.
Yes.
He's
so clever for a teacher.
Bob Holly and Sios Vega versus Common Tatanka with Teddy DiBiase. We see that Teddy DiBiase got slapped by Henry O'Gowan on Superstars. Why is Tatanka still around? He's fun in the deal, I did. But why is he still around? I'm just fine. He and Common...
Probably because they were worried he'd go to WCW.
He and Common struggled with the faces early on, unable to withstand their quick offense. Commentary really pushed the idea that Bob Holly's a hothead. Vegas ends up as the face of power. Holly does get actually several times on the apron. It allows the heels to double team while the referees send Holly back. Hothead Holly gets the tag and scores almost a dropkick. He tried to dive across by, but Common catches him in an awkward power sliding spot. Unfortunately, Holly lands on his neck. It looks bad, but it doesn't try.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily an exciting match at all. Literally, the best worker, I think, was probably Savio Vega. I've never been a big Hardcore Holly fan, but literally the guy was around for 20 years, and I don't remember like a single match of his. Like, oh yeah, I have to go back and see that. Like that good. But yeah, the other side wasn't necessarily that great either. Bob Holly can be a solid worker compared to those two. So yeah, it was like one terrible team versus like one half of a good team. Not necessarily the best matchup you could see.
It was a boring match, expected from $1 million corporation. At least they made sure to build a hothead Holly angle. So I
think if I remember correctly from Bruce Pritchard, I think he came from the fact that they actually had him as a race car driver going around, and he got like disqualified in a race for some reason.
Okay.
And he actually got out of the he actually jumped out of the car and went charging after like the judges or like the flag guy or something.
Oh, okay.
Like I think that's where they started playing it up.
And Razor Ramon responds to Dean Douglas, says that he's going to carve him up. Up next is Jean-Pierre Lafayette versus Brian Walsh. Photos have shown Lafayette stealing Bret Hart's glasses and jacket over the past few weeks. Speaking of Bret, he's on the set of Lonesome Dove and calls in to say that he didn't know that pirates really existed. He sounds so unfused with the program.
Yep, Bret Hart didn't really care.
Pierre gets in almost all offense, win with Lake Cannonball.
Yeah, it was your Raw squash from 1995.
Yeah, a decent enough match to promote the Hart and Lafayette match.
Yeah.
Squash match. Non-title match, main event, WWE Tag Team Champions Owen Hart and Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji versus Mental Mission. Vince McMahon nearly creamed himself at the sight of Yokozuna going face to face with Mabel.
Yes.
They even had the ring reinforced beforehand. As usual, Owen does most of the work for his guys. He has the advantage against Mo since Mo is the worst. Mabel uses his size to pound away. Even though both teams are heels, Owen ends up playing face in peril. Lawler tries to hype up Mental Mission as former tag champions. You know they held him for a very short time. He makes the tag and we almost get the Mabel Yokozuna battle. Yokozuna kicks Mo's round ass for a while. Ali off Vince Coles as a Thursday edition of Raw. But the air date is listed on 9/18, which was a Monday.
Alright, Vince.
Anyway, now Yokozuna Mabel slugged it out. Mabel wins out with a hideous jumping clothesline. A leaping clothesline. Nah, I'm being more generous by saying he leaped.
Yeah.
Following a distraction from Jim Cornette, Yokozuna has the light drop on Mo, and Owen gets the cover.
Probably in the streak of Raws, it's probably the best men on a mission match so far.
But we had a squash match where they were danced and they did the work.
Yes.
And
their other match didn't actually take place.
it was Bulldogs heel turn, yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah, this is definitely the best one. They did relatively okay for them. It wasn't anything necessarily like groundbreaking or special from them.
no.
But I think Owen was good enough to at least carry whoever he was in the ring with.
Yeah.
And Yoko and Mabel probably is a cool looking visual. I'm not all that into it, but it could be someone's bread and butter, like Vince almost creaming his jeans for it. But overall, not an unenjoyable match especially from an intermission.
For the time it was given and the comparison involved, Sans Owen Hart, I expected this to be terrible. Because this was like mid-90s Yoko, not early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It was much better than I thought it would be, though. Still, that's not saying a ton.
Yeah.
Backstage, Diesel and Shawn Michaels guarantee that they'll be tag team champions again. When that's done, the heels get perfect time wisely. Jim Cornette handles the mic work. As you expect from Jim, he's pretty great here. I don't the main event for this Sunday.
Yes.
Full Brawl 1995 results. This was Johnny B. Bad defeated Brian Pillman in 29 minutes and 59 seconds in a 4-star match. Sergeant Craig Pittman defeated Cobra. Diamond Dallas Page defeated Random Dave for the television championship. Harm Heat defeated Bunkhouse Buck and Dick Slater in a tag team championship match. Anderson defeated Ric Flair and War Games. Hulk Hogan, Lex Luger, Randy Savage, and Sting defeated the Dungeon of Doom. Nitro episode 3 was from Freedom Hall in Johnson City, Tennessee. We're just 24 hours removed from Full Brawl. Which, looking at the car, sounded like a mixed bag show. For the most part. They were new television tag team champions in DP Harm Heat. And at this point, by the way, side note, it's September 95, Hogan's been the world champion since July, I believe, of 94.
Yeah, I think you're right.
This is before.
Yeah.
Commentaries as usual, artificial Mob Team Mongo combo. To close out Full Brawl, the John debuted and sent Hulk Hogan away in ambulance.
I'll add this comment. They seem to just throw the Giant on television in the middle of a promo, like at the beginning of the show, Like, you're already supposed to know who he is.
Yeah.
Like, there was no mention of him on the previous Nitros. There was nothing like a big warning, like a giant man's coming or something like that.
Yep.
It was just they threw him out there, threw him on there, and expected people to know who he was, even if you hadn't seen the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It was kind of jarring at first.
They go backstage with a giant Texas Subway ambulance where they drive in it all night. Johnny cuts a promo, but so over top and can't beat because he was still slow, very new to the business. They were billing him as Andre the Giant's son at this point. First was supposed to be the Blue Bloods versus the American Males in the one contender match. During the Blue Bloods entrance, R&B attacked them and decided they wanted to just put the titles on the line against the American Males because they are the best tag team around. WCW World Tag Team Championship, Harm Heat was Sister Sherry versus the American Males. They never fully specified the titles on the line because the commissioner is in the building. It seems like they are, so we'll just go with that. This starts like a brawl, quickly comes down, nothing really happens until Booker nearly decapitates Reigns with a spin kick. During match, Colonel Parker comes down, he made out with Sister Sherry last night. Sherry does a terrible job of falling with the apron right into his arms. Bagwell counters a slam and lands on top of Booker, upsetting them to steal the win, wearing the WWE World Tag Championship American Males.
Probably a better match than you can expect from the American Males, and one half of Harlem Heat. It's definitely better than... It probably would have been it's probably a better fit, the two teams wise, than you probably would have gotten beforehand. I know Regal's probably my second favorite wrestler out of all 6 possible and actual competitors. But I think the Harlem Heat would actually fit better with American Males for some reason.
Okay.
Just because I don't think the American Males can actually know how to react to a pure, like, British style of wrestling that you would get from Regal and Lord Robert Eaton.
Right. I was trying to say Dave Silver, but yeah, he's under it.
Yeah, so I think that we got the better option of the two, just chemistry-wise, and surprisingly not a terrible match.
No, if you want proof that anything could and will happen on Nitro, this is an early place to look.
Yeah.
Harmony wasn't sound seen, but they dropped the titles less than a night to win them back. Not the best team to take the belts, and not the best match, but this is one best shock value. Mean by God Gene is in the ring to introduce Ric Flair. He introduced him about Brian Pillman later tonight. Pillman calls Flair a match against Anderson last night. Flair is unhappy to armbar an outsider into their feud. He promises to chop Pillman so hard that other former NFL players feel it. Johnny B. Bay versus Paul Orndorff. Orndorff has a new gimmick where he carries around a mirror and has awful theme music. Johnny B. Bay is apparently the number 1 contender for the U.S. title after a grueling half-hour contest with Brian Pillman at Fall Brawl. The fans chant Pola and Mr. Wonderful. They don't do much of interest outside of Bay Piscotto to the outside. Orndorff counters the backdrop into a pin and somehow wins.
Yeah, not really an exciting match. Paul Orndorff from 1995 isn't necessarily the person fans are begging to see in 1995. And his new theme song at this point was kind of interesting. It was literally just like an operatic version of, I have no idea. It was an operatic style, I guess would be a better description. And it's just pretty much saying how wonderful or precious or wonderful he is. But yeah, the theme song ended up sticking in my head more than anything else for some reason.
Why? Johnny B. Bay just became the top contender for the number 2 belt in the company. I think that Orndorff has a new gimmick, but I didn't really want to get over. There was others he could have gone over. On the set of Baywatch, Randy Savage was working out. One Taskmaster to attack him and choke him with the barbell. Right before Randy appears to save him. Everything about that was absurd.
I have no idea why he actually came in and tried to save... Why Ric Flair tried to save Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm pretty sure Ric Flair is still a heel.
He's a face.
Oh, he is a face. No, I thought he was the heel in Arn Anderson.
No, because he turns on Sting at Halloween Havoc.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Everything about this is just absurd. The fact that I was on Baywatch,
Oh, and Ric Flair was in his wrestling attire too.
Right, that the Taskmaster being on the beach, and the floor running. It all leads to Randy Savage being injured by Mean Gene. Gene's earned his checks tonight. Savage says that he didn't ask for first help, so thanks and no thanks. He focuses on Hogan saying he's a manager as a character because he got hit with a cheap shot from Luger during War Games. He predicts that Luger, Sting, and Jimmy Hart will join Dungeon of Doom. Luger comes out to confront him. Luger claims that Savage has a personal agenda of his own, leading him to almost head implodes. Full shares from last night, for Full Brawl last night. Hulk Hogan was being interviewed on his motorcycle when the Giants showed up home and watched the truck around. Hogan beats on the car door while Giant laughs manically. They then show the end to show where the Giants snapped Hogan's neck. How see it live. Also, Mongo claims that he's seen that neck snapping spot on the football field. Straight to Mongo. Up next.
By the way, that segment was just
pretty damn good.
It was very good in an entertaining aspect. But it's almost as cheesy as if you've seen the series Glow on Netflix, where they had that episode where it was like an episode of the actual wrestling series inside the Netflix series.
Mm-hmm.
It was like as cheesy as those vignettes were.
Yeah. Up next, Brian Pillman versus Ric Flair. Both men exchange shots at the start before spelling outside. Flair showing aggression in the fifth angle. Pillman, who was only starting to show heel tendencies in the match last night against Johnny B, is full heel here. He uses the ropes for leverage and vicious attacks Flair's arm. He uses slams on the guardrail a few times, back inside to trace off. Flair tries to figure 4, Pillman pulls him into the inside curl for 2. Flair finally manages to lock him on figure 4 and Pillman gives up.
It was a solid match, but I think it needed more time, especially for those two who can go at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just needed more time to actually get things going a little bit. But not unenjoyable and a solid main event for Nitro.
I wish it's got an unclean finish for a Pillman win. Instead, it will help Brian into further an angle.
Nitro.
Still, the match is solid for time given. Before his line phone says that next week Arn Anderson will get his ace kicked. And as it shows up to go up there, he says that something is going on in the back. Bischoff agrees, but instead of Kanto, they promote Disco Inferno's Nitro debut next week. Why? Overall, I'm giving it like a 5 out of 10.
Raw, I'd probably give it around 5 out of 10.
It was like a middle pack show. What was the card games? The main event was an effort that over-delivered. Like that. And Oprah was the match of the week, so. And I was a fan of the $1 Million Corporation tag now, so.
Yeah.
But at least the Lafayette squash built towards pay-per-view, so. Not bad waste spent 45 minutes. Nitro, I'll give a 6 out of 10.
I know it seems like I'm commenting often, but yeah, I would actually go with that too. Nitro wasn't necessarily the better wrestled show, but for some reason it came off more entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was a better wrestled show, but it didn't feel like necessarily much happened long term. Nitro, at least they had the tag team title change at the very beginning of the show, and then they just had cheesy segments throughout that if you're an old nostalgic fan like me, you probably smiled and chuckled at.
Yeah, even on weeks when the matches are disappointing, the show still manages to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So outside of terrible decision, I have Warren Wolf, John B. Band.
But Nitro is not as entertaining now as it's going to be.
Oh yeah, everything moved
very soon.
Everything moved quickly. It had purpose. The tag title switch was a cool surprise, and I'm enjoying the Flair Anderson Pillman angle.
Yeah.
So, and we'll be back next Monday with.
Before we go, give a special thanks to the guy who wrote
for RollMania.com. Tyler Pantola.
Okay.
Pantola.
Thank you.
Pantola. Pantoja.
Yeah. Sorry, we can't pronounce your name, but thank you for us using your articles.
So we'll be back next week with week 4 for the Monday Night War.
See you then.